Sound doctrine, huh? It's going to be a good one tonight. Remember, we're still building our foundation, okay? Still building it. We're building our house. Okay, Sunday we built the foundation. Now we're building the framework of the house. Okay? Tonight and Sunday go hand in hand. Okay, and then after the next Tuesday, we're really going to get into some stuff. Okay? But we got to do something before we get there. We got to attack something. Okay, we got to attack something. Are we ready to attack it? Okay. We're going to Titus chapter 2, verse 1. And I do not like the settings that I did on that thing. But, can everybody hear it okay? Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it then. Titus chapter 2, verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patient. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded, in all things showing thyself a pattern of good works. In doctrine, there's that word again, doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech, that can be condemned, that he hath, that is of the contrary part, may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say. So, Titus starts with having sound doctrine, and then it goes through some things about having sound doctrine, about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Sound doctrine, doctrine, doctrine. We love that word. Church loves that word. It's our doctrine versus their doctrine, and it's doctrine this and it's doctrine that. But what is doctrine? And doctrine is simply your belief system. That's all it is. And every day you should be gaining a more comprehensive doctrine about God. Every day your belief system about Him should be growing. And you need to know what He says about certain things. You need to know, if you plan on getting married, what God says about marriage. You need to know what God says about kids if you plan on having kids. So you go into areas of life and you should have sound doctrine. You should have a belief system that's true of what God says about the thing. You should know the true concepts about God. You should know what He did say and what He didn't say. Now remember, what you don't know, if you don't have sound doctrine in something, you are, there you go, Sister Donna, you're ignorant. Ignorance is nothing more than you do not know. However, that's a very scary place to be, because we know that the kingdom of darkness reigns and has authority in your ignorance, because ignorance is darkness. So whatever you are ignorant in, there is no light. If there is no light, darkness has full authority in that area. So we must get light and we must get truth to shine out the darkness. And once you have the light shining, darkness cannot overtake that area. And we are to have sound doctrine. We are to know what the book, what His Word says about a thing. So remember, we're not talking about what religion has told us. We're not talking about man-made doctrine of what man has scrounged around in the Bible and tried to extract to preach a doctrine of something, we're not talking about that. We're talking about what it says in the Bible and understanding the context in which who it was written for, why they wrote it, and what they were saying. That's why having sound doctrine is important. Because if you have sound doctrine about what God says, not by what man says, not by what religion says, not by what they say, but if you have sound doctrine, when someone says something contrary to what God says, you know what to do with the information. Now, one of my favorite scriptures, which we should all know it by heart because we had 17 lessons on it, and that was Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So is he. His is a state of being verb. Thinketh is an action verb. So there's only one action that determines my state of being, and that's what I perceive to be true up here. So whatever I is, that's what I am. Not by what my parents have told me, not by what my grandparents have told me, not even by what a pastor's told me, not by what a church or a religion has told me. What I believe to be true is what I become. That's my is. And my is will always trump something else because that's how I think. So if I believe a lie, I live a lie. Because I'm believing in it. If I believe it, I become it. That's why we're told to rid our minds of all these misconceptions, and that's why we're going through and understanding what the Bible truly says about this concept about God and how we've been told wrong about this thing about God, and God's really not that, but he's this, and there's all of these misconceptions that we have that have been molded in us, and we have misconceptions about poverty and prosperity. We have misconceptions about money and resources and stewardship and management and everything else that comes with inheriting the kingdom. So we have all these misconceptions. Well, if we have all these misconceptions, then we start living those misconceptions even though they're false. So that's why our minds must constantly be going through something. Our minds have got to keep going for sound doctrine. Now, all of us, most of us probably, have been in church our entire life. And there's this idea that the church brings that we have all faced at one time or another. And that's the idea of you are not allowed to question or ask for more information. To better understand something, we at some point were not allowed to ask the whys. And this idea stems from a man simply telling us what to do and how to do it because of the title of a pastor or a deacon, and because he has authority, and even though his word, he says a word, and we, because he's the man of God and the shepherd, we must blindly follow because what he says must be true because he's a man of God. So we were never able to ask the questions, hey, why are we doing this? Because you would just, well, that's what the pastor said. Why am I going to question the pastor? He's the man of God. He's the one with direct access, more direct access than I got. So who am I to question? And then what makes all of this worse is you would have a pastor, the bishop, the deacon, they would say something and then they would never expound on the idea they're telling you. And they would never give you the full context. And they would never give you more understanding on why you're doing what you're doing. So they would take something from the Bible, they would take a scripture, and they would base it off a man-made idea, a man-made concept, and filter it through the lens of the culture and what they went through and their lifestyle, and then they would repurpose it to the people in their view. So they would say something and we would do it. Now, I don't mind doing things as long as I know why I'm doing them. There's been many times where a boss or someone else, I didn't understand, why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense to me. And they would explain the reasoning, and then I would say, oh, I understand now. I can now follow what you're asking me to do because I have understanding on why you're saying what we need to do. So I'm okay with doing something. But tell me why I'm doing it. Don't just say this is how we're doing it to be doing it. Well, why are we doing it that way? Is it just because that's the way we've always done it, or is there a reasoning behind this idea?
That's good. That's good teaching. Yes.
So we've had countless ideas, and we've had people say this and people say that, and you've in the back of your mind said, well, that doesn't make much sense. Give me understanding. Help me understand why you're saying what you're saying, how you're viewing something the way you're viewing. Give me knowledge on how you view it. And then we could get behind it. But we've all had that times, possibly years, to where we were just doing it to be doing it with no understanding. We didn't have a why behind it. Now, I believe that's one reason. I believe that is a main reason why my generation and the prior generation behind me has left the church. Allow me to open up this wound and allow me to expose some things that need to be exposed. Because as a kid and the prior generation, our parents would do things. Now, please keep this in mind. I'm not necessarily talking about pastor and first lady, okay? But that still goes to it, because there are things that I'm going to talk about that are true, but don't just focus on them, okay? So there were things that my parents would do. Well, the pastor would say something, so the parents will do it. Well, if you're a kid and you're under my roof, you're going to obey my rules, so therefore I'm doing it, you're going to do it too. So not only did it affect the parents, but because the parents were obeying, the kids thus had to fall in line and do exactly what parents did. And the kids could never ask the why, because they had no authority. They didn't deserve to know the why. They were the kids, and what I say goes. Don't question what I'm telling you to do, because I have the authority. I'm the parent. So the kids were never able to say, well, mommy, daddy, this don't make sense. Why are we doing this? Instead, we all followed like precious little church ants, and we followed the orders of the man of God without really understanding what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we're going, and how we're doing it. We just followed along with what they were saying. So when the kids would ask, hey, why are we doing this? You get the cop-out answer. Well, because the pastor said to do it. Well, it's the right thing to do, so you should do it anyway. Because I said so. Throw in whatever cop-out answer you want to put in there. So then you have a kid growing up with, I'm doing something and I don't know why I'm doing it. Not only am I doing something, I don't understand why I'm doing it, I see the effect it's having, not only in my life, but in my parents' life, and in my family's life, and in my house. So we're these perfect Christians outside of our home, but inside we're living a hell. And we can't tell anybody we're living in a hell at home because we must blindly follow when we're outside and never question. So you have these kids growing up with no understanding. Kids with no knowledge. And they lack in knowledge in all these other areas. In areas and what it takes and why they're doing this and the benefit of why they're doing it. It's just simply you do it because the man of God said to do it. And we obey because he's the man of God. We're supposed to obey. It doesn't matter what he says. We just do it. How dare us question him? And that's the mindset that has trapped my generation, the generation behind me, and it's still trapping their generation. Because there's no knowledge. There's no understanding on why we're doing the things we're doing. But just simply tell me why we're doing it. And if it makes sense, I'll go right along with it. I got no problem, but give me information. So we follow all these things that we're going to fail at. So us as a kid, we're like, they're telling me to live a life I am destined to fail at. Now I get older. Now I'm an adult. Now I can make my own decisions. Why am I going to live the same life my parents lived that was a miserable, helpless, pathetic life, all because they followed that man, because that man told them to do this and do that? Why am I going to put my life through that? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not living my life knowing I'm going to fail at what he's telling me not to do. So what do? We turn away because I don't want to serve the God that they serve, because according to them, the God they serve, I don't want to serve him. Because that God's mean. That God's a bully. That God tells me all these things I can and cannot do. And I don't want to serve that God. That's the mindset. That's what we're thinking. That's what generations behind me are thinking. Why am I serving a God that's a bully? Why am I serving God that will bless this but not this? So we have all these misconceptions because no knowledge, no understanding was ever given on why you're doing what you're doing. Lack of knowledge. That's what we're fighting. Lack of knowledge. Why have we not gained any new knowledge? Because here's what happened. Here's why we don't. You often hear the same sound throughout your entire life. What do you mean by that? You're in the same culture your whole life. You're in the same ideas your whole life. You are never exposed to anything outside. And that's how oftentimes we live, is we're in a bubble, and the only sounds we're familiar with are the sounds that are within that bubble. But then a new sound comes your way. Whether it's you go outside of your normal place and hear a different sound, or someone comes into your bubble having a different sound. Now, when you hear a different sound, one of two things happens. The first one is rejection and defense mechanism. This is a new sound. I don't like it because it's going against something that I am. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is curiosity. Yes. Hey, I've never heard this sound before. This intrigues me. What is the sound? And then eventually you listen to the sound long enough, you embrace it. Because you've listened to it long enough, you didn't reject it, but you've let it entice you and let it entice you. And before you know it, you get familiar with that sound, and now that's another sound that you are familiar with. And it doesn't matter if it's a happy or joyous sound. Because if your sound is always chaos and sadness, you can hear a joyful and a happy sound and reject it because you're so used to the sadness and you're so used to the chaos and you're so used to the woe is me. You will reject something good because the devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. Now, obviously, that phrase doesn't actually mean devils. The phrase is, I'm more comfortable with what I'm familiar with than what I'm not familiar with. So even though I live in a hell, that hell is familiar to me. And even though that's peace, I'm so comfortable living in my hell, I'd rather not venture out into something that I don't know. You can play it both ways. You can play it to where you have a good person trying to live a righteous and holy life, but then a sound from the world maybe comes in, or the sound of the enemy or the adversary, the kingdom of darkness throws a sound your way. And then that sound entices you. And that's what I believe the sophisticated plan that the kingdom of darkness has done. They knew that there were kids and generations that were tired of hearing the sound that they were hearing. So what do all I got to do? All I got to do is throw an enticing sound out there. And it could be subtle because I could throw that sound year after year. And before I know it, generation after generation will be enticed by this sound. So then you have a sound that has completely altered your course of life, going down a path of death. All because of a sound. Something that you were unfamiliar with that enticed your ears. This sound, Southeast Missouri sound, is much different than the suburbs of Chicago sound. The culture is different. The people are different. Everything about it is different. The food is different. Everything's different about it. So if you're used to a Southeast country, yonder, there type sound, if you go to a northwest suburb of Chicago, that sound's not going to be familiar with you. It was a culture shock to us because we moved from the northwest suburbs of Chicago to country town, cornfields. And it wasn't just a little section, it was a whole area of cows and stuff you got to wake up smelling, not knowing what in the world's going on out there. It's a different sound. You either reject it or you learn to embrace it. You've always heard a religious sound. My job is to break that religious sound and give you a different sound. Give you a sound of the kingdom, because a kingdom sound is much different than a religious sound. But the religious sound's what we're familiar with. We're familiar with it, and we're okay with it because that's our life. That's who we are, and I don't want to change that because I'm familiar with it. And that's what we're doing. We're attacking this religious sound, and we're bringing a kingdom sound. That's why we got to talk about it. That's why I'm giving you understanding on why kingdom sound. I'm not just telling you to do it. I'm saying this is why kingdom sound is much better than a religious sound. But if no knowledge is ever given, then we're going to live the same life we've always lived. We're going to live that same way. We're going to live a life that we can't change, and we hate, and we're miserable, and we're just waiting either for us to die or for Jesus to come back. And we have all these frustrations, and we can't change it because your religious mindset. But if you have a kingdom mindset, you can change what you want. You can bring that heaven down to earth sound. So you either reject it or you embrace it. Now, what I teach can be very hard to embrace because it's different. It goes against everything thing that's embedded inside of us. It goes against a culture. It goes against a mindset. It goes against ideas that have been such at a core in our life for years and years and has shaped and molded us. And no one wants to go to the end of their life and say, well, everything that I just did was pointless. Why did me following these rules and all these regulations and just going through these rituals, my life could have been so much more if it weren't for those obstacles. And that's hard to comprehend. No one wants to get to the end of their life and realize what could have been. Nobody does. So there's a problem. It's a problem, lack of knowledge. Okay, problem. How do you fix a problem? How do you fix a problem? When there's something going on, how do you fix a problem? That's part of it. So first, like everything else, you have to know, you know what? There's a problem. You got to recognize there's something not right here. You have to acknowledge there's a problem here. You have to recognize that. You have to know and come to an understanding, you know what? This is a problem. Now, in order to fix the problem, you must first, what we just talked about, recognize or acknowledge it. Recognize or acknowledge it. Don't blindly say there's nothing going on. There's not a problem. You must recognize and acknowledge the problem exists. Then the next step is you must gain understanding and knowledge. Knowledge. So I recognize the problem's there. How do I fix it? Well, I got to get knowledge on the problem. I got to know how to fix this problem. So once you take the knowledge you have, then you got to bring it into action. So you got to do something with the knowledge. You can't just gain the knowledge and not do anything with it. It takes action to implement the knowledge that you have just gained to fix the problem at hand. So the issue we run into is instead of acknowledging the problem, we like to talk about the problem. And we are so good at talking about the problem. We are really good at saying, Brother Ron, you got a problem. Brother Roger, you got a problem. We're good at pointing the problem out. We're good at that. You got a problem, Sister Carol. We love doing that. Or what we do is this. We get this all out of order. We try to gain knowledge about something we don't even know about. There's a problem, but you're gaining knowledge about something completely different, and that knowledge will not fix the problem. Or you try and take action without even knowing what a problem is and having knowledge to fix the problem. We're good at that too. We have no knowledge or understanding about something. We don't even know what the problem is, but we are sure ready to give some answers to help you fix it. Don't even know what it is, but I got the answer for you. We think it's an answer when really it's just our opinion and we don't have any understanding of it. So then what happens? Frustration gets the better of us. And we know there's a problem. But we don't know what it is, so we can't acknowledge it. We never gain knowledge and understanding for the problem. Or we never take action for the problem. So frustration builds because we're tired of seeing this stupid thing. We're tired of it. We're tired of dealing with this. We're tired of dealing with that. We're tired of it. But nothing's ever done. So frustration begins to build. And frustration. And frustration. Or we gain the wrong knowledge. That happens quite a bit too. The world has problems. Our country has problems. Our states have problems. The city has problems. Your community has problems. And yes, even your own house has problems. That's next, Brother Ron. And then we have problems. Then let's make it worse. Then the church has all those problems inside of it. So the church has got problems. So we got problems everywhere. And we're trying to go out and fix the world's problems when we got our own problems. We can't fix the world's problems until we fix our problems. How can a church fix a world when the church is more messed up than the world is? That don't make sense. But you know what? That's what we try to do. We try to change the world without changing our churches. We try to change the church without changing us. But you make up the church. But that's exactly what we do. We can't fix anybody else's problems till we fix ours. So what's our problem right now? What is this series based on? Management and stewardship of your life. And we have all of these problems in our life and have no knowledge on how to fix them. We don't even know there's a problem to acknowledge. And we certainly don't even know an action to even start with. So we have this kingdom economy. Managing God's kingdom the way He intends it to be managed. Stewardship and management, but we don't know how to do any of that. So now we're slowly driving to our cliff. Okay? We're slowly driving to our cliff. Giving you the warning now. Okay, it says dead end, 300-foot drop, and we're getting there. Every country has an economy. Every kingdom has an economy. What is an economy? What is it? We're talking about it. We're going to learn how to steward and manage it. What is it? An economy represents the system by which the country or community produces, distributes, and consumes goods and services. It's how people organize and interact and manage those resources and meet needs, create wealth, do things that they need to do. So there's 5 areas in which a kingdom, in which an economy functions. All right, so you have your resources. Resources. That's one area of the economy. Then you have the production. You got the production of the things. Then, once you have the product, you got to distribute it. Then, once it's distributed, it gets consumed. Consumed. After all that happened, how is it getting consumed? By exchanging it to one another. Exchange. and we value all of it. So you have your resources, money, labor, raw materials, time, technology. You have the production. You have how stuff's made, the goods, the services that are provided for it, the distribution on how the goods and service get to the people, and trade and markets and businesses. You got the consumption, how people use and what they use and how they use it to produce the needs and the wants. And then you got that exchange. Money is used, resources are used to trade, and prices are communicated on. And hey, this is worth this and that's worth that. That's when an economy, all of this is in the kingdom. And we have got to know how to manage and steward it. Not by what man says, not by what religion says, by what he says. Proverbs 4:7. The scripture goes like this: wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So let's break this down as we're slowly coming up on our cliff even more. Wisdom is a principal thing. You can get something, and if you're not wise about it, you'll lose it. So you can have something, and if you don't know how to be wise with it, you're going to lose it. Wisdom is what to do. Understanding is why you're doing it. So we're not just talking about just any old economy. We are talking about what our king says. The king's economy. Not just any old economy, not just our economy. We are talking about the things that our Father says, hey, this is mine, they're in my house, but you got to manage them. You got to steward them. Wisdom is the ability to apply the knowledge. Think of wisdom as the steering wheel. It's making the turns. It's navigating life. While understanding are the insights and the discernments and the ability to understand why you're going there. And that's a dead-end road, and we shouldn't go that direction. Okay, it tells you why certain moves are necessary to go beyond what you know. And the wisdom says, yes, let's do that. So here we go. Our cliff is in sight. We're about to jump off it at 100 miles an hour. I'm a mic drop, and you're not going to hear nothing till Sunday. Are you ready? Your present today is your tomorrow, is your future, unless you learn something new today. Life will carry you only to the destination by which you have learned.
That's true.
You cannot go beyond what you know.
No, you can't.
You can't go beyond anything beyond what your mind thinks. If you have knowledge in one area, you can only get so far with that knowledge, and you will no longer go beyond with any new knowledge. You will be stuck there until new knowledge is gained.
That's right.
Your present is your future unless you get new knowledge about it. If you don't ever get new knowledge, if you don't ever get understanding, you will be looking at the same seasons every day of your life. The calendar will go forward. You will get older, but you will still be in the same exact spot if you gain no new knowledge. Do you want to better understand that knowledge with God's economy?
Yes.
Then come back Sunday. How you like that, Cliff? Drove right off that thing.
You went right off.
And that's all I'm saying. Are you ready to better understand this stuff? We have things that God has given us, and we can live a life much more abundantly. But we have got to learn to manage and steward what He has for us. And when you prove faithful on that level, then God says, you've managed and steward well on this level. Now it's time to move to the next level.